I tried to convince Adam, hey, can you give me like 5 years, maybe 10 years before the impact from the time of discovery? Because then we can do this really, this is how long it takes to develop spacecraft. And then we can show all the monthly management reviews that have to happen. And we can also show all the design reviews, the peer reviews, the extensive budgetary discussions that are going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought this would have been a thrilling movie, Adam.
By the way, it would have been better.
Hi, I'm Amy, UCLA planetary scientist with my co-host Adam, a writer and producer. We love movies and science, and
Today we're talking about Don't Look Up and planetary defense.
Obviously, one giant comet is a major and existential threat to our planet, but 30 smaller meteoroids we can handle. Our BEADS, which stands for Bash, Explore, and Acquire Drones, will attach to the comet and scan using nanotechnology developed by Nobel Prize winner Gary Taukaman here. And then we will deploy Nobel and Pulaski Prize-winning scientist Dr. Inez's micro-targeted quantum fission explosives deep into the object. Dr. Inez, would you like to explain?
Thank you, Peter. We've been developing phase fission reactors in the CERN particle accelerator that can splinter the comet into smaller pieces with breathtaking accuracy. These segments are then steered and decelerated by each bead into the Pacific Ocean for reclamation by waiting U.S. Navy ships.
And when these treasures from heaven are claimed, poverty as we know it, social injustice, loss of biodiversity, all of these multitudes of problems will become relics of the past, and humanity will stride through the pillars of Boaz and Yakin naked into the glory of a golden age.
Uh-huh.
That feels right. That feels totally right. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Amy.
And this is Unobtainium.
Yes, and what you just heard was a dramatic reenactment of the key scene from the movie Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up, the 2022 film by Adam McKay. And today we have Adam McKay.
Yeah, so we have Adam. And Adam, let's see, has, what did you say, 90 honorary doctorates, I think?
Yeah, 90 honorary doctorates. I've been knighted in 3 different countries.
I thought it was
and
4.
If you include, well, some people don't count Bermuda, but I do.
Yeah.
I would.
And if you count my Oscar for DP on the Deer Hunter, I've won 7 Academy Awards.
Excellent. So,
Which some people don't. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So many
Thank
years
you.
later. Well-deserved. Beautiful cinematography.
Thank you.
and it is very, very fun to get to have you with us here today because, I really liked working on the movie with you. It was super fun. And
So fun. You were incredible.
Amy was the science advisor on the film. So for people who didn't know that, and worked with you from very early on, as I understood. How did that work out?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the coolest thing was hearing Amy talk to Leo DiCaprio, because DiCaprio had to play the kind of mid-tier scientist who knows the data but is totally naive in our media financialized, career driven society. We had certain demands that the movie made on narrative drive and structure. So the most interesting conversation Amy and I had was, what would this object be that might hit Earth? And most importantly, what is the time frame? And I was, Amy was like, well, if you discovered it there, it would probably be like 2 years. And I was like, there has never been a movie that has lived in a 2-year time frame. I mean, with huge time jumps.
So just to explain, you're saying that a real event would take 2 years, but for a film, it's hard to show that.
We worked on it a little bit. I mean, we workshopped this, right? Because I tried to convince Adam, hey, can you give me like 5 years, maybe 10 years before the impact from the time of discovery? Because then we can do this really, this is how long it takes to develop spacecraft. And then we can show all the monthly management reviews that have to happen. And we can also show all the design reviews, the peer reviews, the extensive budgetary discussions that are going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought this would have been a thrilling movie, Adam.
By the way, it would have been better.
Really? What do you mean?
I mean, to do a movie that starts with the drama of holy crap, this celestial object is almost for sure gonna hit Earth. And then to shift into a 5-year time period where the government isn't calling them back, where it's exactly what's happened with climate, which is, in the early 80s, James Hansen sat before Congress and was like, we have a major problem. And it's been 45 years. And really, for all intents and purposes, like nothing has happened. I mean, there's like tax breaks for heat pumps, and like China seems to be gearing up with renewables, but like that would have been a really gutsy movie to make. I think audiences would have had a big problem with it, a 5-year period. But I personally would have loved it. So
Amy, maybe there's a chance in the future, like a reboot or somehow of the 5-year version of this movie.
We tried to work it out, and we did. We came up with an object in terms of the science, that actually fit the bill, a comet, right? A large comet. And we had actually discovered such a comet, not one that would ever come close to the Earth to impact it, but we did find a large, what's called a long period comet. These are comets that come from the distant outer part of the solar system. They make kind of one appearance, and then they're gone for hundreds of millions or even billions of years. So we found this object in 2020 called Comet NEOWISE. And all of our discoveries get called Comet NEOWISE, but this was one of the Comet NEOWISEs. But it happened to get really close to the sun, not to the Earth, but to the sun. And it became very bright enough to be seen by a lot of people with the naked eye. So the key thing about that is we discovered it in kind of late March of 2020, and the object had made its closest approach to the sun by early July of the same year. So basically, just a few months from discovery to getting close to the sun. So this fit the bill for Don't Look Up because Adam, I think, very wisely restrained me from 5 years of monthly management reviews.
That movie's coming.
You were
the
not
5-year
wrong.
management review.
Yeah. I would have watched it, and maybe
Yeah.
3 other engineers
Same.
would have watched it.
It's like my dinner with Andre or something. It would just be there, that just
Right?
talking and
Yeah.
two scientists talking at a table. Okay, there are actual techniques that you guys talk about in the film. One is thing called Kinetic Impactor.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
so there are these protocols. NASA actually has someone doing this. The Oglethorpe character in the film is sort of based on a real person. So what is the Kinetic Impactor approach to deal if there really is a comet coming to us? How does that work? What that technique?
Okay, well, I'll give you guys like to our listeners here, the kind of TLDR is basically there really is an office at NASA, fairly recently created, called the Planetary Defense Coordination Office. They are awesome people, in my opinion. I work with them pretty closely, and they are, the people who are actually charged with doing something about asteroids, and comets. And the idea is basically they've created now a central repository where people who observe asteroids and comets can actually send the data and then, stick all the observations together so we can tell all these asteroids and comets apart from one another and then make reliable predictions about where they're going to go. If we ever did see something that looks interesting, like on a incoming trajectory.
That would be frightening for me. Or
Interesting.
terrifying.
Yeah, we in science call it interesting. But if we saw something like that, we collectively, the community, right? The goal of this Planetary Defense Coordination Office is to coordinate with agencies like FEMA and other international space agency, and observers all over the world. So they've set up these frameworks, a couple of them through the United Nations, to plan mitigation missions, of which kinetic impactor is one possible type.
Okay.
NASA actually did demonstrate a kinetic impactor mission where they deliberately took a refrigerator-sized spacecraft and just whammed it into another asteroid.
This was called the Double Asteroid Redirection Test, DART.
Yeah, DART, yeah. And so DART, it was actually successful. It was a really brilliant experiment. They picked a binary asteroid, so an asteroid that had a little moon friend. And from the timing of the eclipses of the binary, they were able to tell the orbital speed very precisely of the moon, the asteroid moon. So when the asteroid was hit by this spacecraft or, just bumped into, it actually changed its orbit speed by a few millimeters per second. So that was actually a big deal. And it worked. But the kinetic impactor technique, if you really wanted to push something out of the way just purely by bumping into it with a spacecraft, it takes a long time.
So you'd have to have it. So you have to do it this is where we got the whole conversation about how long it takes. It would take several years. You'd have to go do it, and then it would take several years to get out of the core. When you thought of this idea, right? Like what was that? Well, first of all, how did you think of that?
Well, some of it was me at my computer just asking, is there a place that does this? So I had kind of a rough, scrappy approximation. But once Amy came in, she was like, this is how it works. Amy was kind of like the law on the movie.
That's kind of Amy in general, just so you know.
It's true. Yeah.
She was like the cool small town sheriff. It's like, guys, settle down, or no, you really can't do that. And so it was so great. Everything went on track at that point, and we found out the real process of reporting a newly discovered object, how it worked, where the calls would go, what they would do. And that kind of detail, whether audiences know it's completely authentic or not, you can feel it, that it's real. And so the whole trick to the first 25 minutes of the movie, it had to feel real. You had to feel that fear when DiCaprio's character discovers that object or realizes the object that the grad student, Jen Lawrence's character, had discovered is a danger. And you had to see that when the numbers kept dialing in, oh, we have a real problem. The movie itself became sort of, in making it, I had the feeling of the tensions, between the Hollywood guy. We got to get that comet to hit quick. and Amy saying, oh, wait a minute. I mean, fortunately, we're not jerks. So we were like, all right, wait a minute.
No, it really worked. And I thought one thing I really appreciated about working on the movie with you is you have a deep respect for science and the scientific method. And you were willing to kind of let me put that, that was from you, that was a big priority in the movie, and you really went there with it.
But somehow it's always these options that in the film too, you talk about it, and it's something, the solution may end up making it worse, right? So the other option they talk about is
Yeah.
is the nuclear option, right?
Right.
So and which kind of gets into our opening read, like the beads approach, where essentially what you're going to do is, as it's really close, you're going to blow up the thing with a nuclear weapon. Well, that's the general version. In the movie, it's very specific with the drones and that whole craziness. But then what you're doing is you're then taking what would have been a single bullet coming at you and turning it into like a radioactive shotgun blast.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's kind of geoengineering.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
geoengineering is really dangerous, really vast. I mean,
It's
we
complicated.
should have been
Yeah.
building a complicated. I mean, that is the
like what is
perfect
that? Can you explain that
word.
just in general, like what that means?
Sure. What they can do, although it's, Amy said, it's complicated, it's theoretical, you can release certain particles into the air that will reflect heat back out to compensate from that broken albedo effect. And to be clear, albedo is just really
Reflectivity.
reflective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
And
reflective. light.
it's ice, clouds, reflect heat out, and we are losing ice at a rapid rate. Clouds are decreasing, and geoengineering theoretically can do that. But if you jump into the history of movies, there are 9 movies where the premise is geoengineering gone wrong.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
including The Matrix. Like,
Oh yeah. The Matrix is a really good example of that. And I mean, the thing about it is there are all these ideas right now, and it's possible to try them in a lab. And I think one thing that Don't Look Up did really effectively, in my opinion, was, there's this scene where they're gonna, push the comet out of the way, and then you came up with the idea that, hey, we're gonna go mine it for minerals and rare earth elements, and so we're gonna, how are we gonna do that?
Those
we
treasures
need
from
this-
heaven.
Yeah, so we need this, the thing we just read in the beginning, right? We're gonna use what is it? It's the Bash, Explore, and Acquire drones that will use nanotechnology and micro-targeted quantum fission explosives. What could possibly go wrong? That sounds great. Let's do it,
And they were peer reviewed, of course.
Of course, absolutely.
Well, and that's the
No,
whole
wait a minute.
point, right? So that's the whole like private versus public. The issue of science becoming politicized is not new, right? When evolution was being developed, the theories on evolution, it was a political issue. Like the entire space program, to some degree, right, is political, right? So
Well,
this-
or smoking. I think it's a really good example.
And smoking, right? Because then you're adding on top of that the economic interest, right? There's marketing, and then there's social media, and there's ways of really influencing the public really easily. And I think when I watched the film, because it was just after COVID, and I knew the film was talking about climate change, but it so also clearly talked about COVID in a really interesting way, where COVID was something that was catastrophic. And yet we found a solution. We were able to come together and find these vaccines and solution. But then they said, no, don't take the vaccine.
and there should be a discipline the same way that geology didn't exist before, like, what was it, like 1850? And the same way astronomy didn't exist until, what was it?
It was kind of the 1600s, 1500s.
1590s?
Yeah, I mean, before that, it was
Yeah.
astrology, right? Before that. And
But
as a science.
there should be a vast field of study, a discipline about how corruption and becoming captured and compromised works, because we are so naive about it. We are so naive about the effects of incentives, large incentives, about the effects of the approval of our peer group, about the effects of our career arc, about the effects of being valued. And if you look at all the money, if you look at it like blood in the water and think of it in terms of like a shark, all the chum in the water, it's put there by the American Petroleum Institute, billionaires, banks, big oil. Like, we did a project studying dark money, and I started thinking it was bad, but then I interviewed lobbyists off the record, and I said to one lobbyist, it was like, I knew it was bad. Am I correct in saying it's 1,000 times worse than I thought? And the guy was driving. He was so relaxed. He was like, no, I think that's right. Like,
Yeah.
people have no idea because they captured the news media.
I think this is like the hardest thing, right? In other words, this is like the problem with the tobacco companies. To me, this is very analogous, right? That science has been known for a long time that smoking causes cancer, but it's a problem for certain businesses that want to sell more cigarettes. So it's like, how do you get past that to the point of, okay, we really do have to solve this or we're all going to suffer badly. And that we sort of tolerate these disasters. And I guess one of the things I wanted to bring up about COVID, just coming back to that for a second, when we first met, it was in 2019. And I remember reading the script, the first draft of it, and thinking, no, there's no way people are going to see a giant comet and not believe it. That's just completely nuts. That doesn't make any sense at all. And then COVID hit like about, I want to say 3 months later. And I thought, nope, it's not weird enough. We talked about this, right? And you had to make the script
Wild.
even weirder.
Really?
Yeah.
Reality was too weird.
And we had to kind of make it more preposterous. And then the responses to the movie were fascinating. Like, there was some New York Times writer was like, I hate the movie. Of course, we would report on a comet hitting the Earth. And then there was a second post, well, we wouldn't want to panic people. So, and then the craziest moment happened where there was some film critic from the New Yorker who was like, this movie sucks. And then there was a climate scientist, literally a NASA climate scientist, who was like, you don't understand what's going on, to the film critic. And the film critic said, I'm tired of these toxic climate scientists. And the climate scientist, once again, NASA climate scientist, was like, F star CKU. And then I was like, this is the most amazing battle I have ever seen, where it was like climate scientists versus film critics. It was like George Monbiot talking about how the film made him cry, but yet, so and so from Variety being like, what a bore. Like, it was so cool. And also terrifying, because I realized our professional class, whatever you want to call them, centrist, liberals, or whatever, have no clue for the most part about what's going on, because it's so wildly inconvenient for career, for their worldview. And that was the part where I started to get really scared. This movie, the idea of like farcical, over-the-top comedy with brutal, heart-scarring effects, that was really exactly what I've been experiencing for the past 7 or 8 years. And as a current day example, we're putting together a letter about the El Nino in the Central Eastern Pacific, which for anyone who doesn't know, El Niños have a huge effect over global weather patterns. And the El Niño that is building has never been seen before, and likely will be the strongest El Niño ever, on top of already warming ocean waters from climate forcing. And so we're going to put this letter out with scientists, meteorologists, citizens signing. And it's wild, some of the response. I mean, the letter is really just public safety. Like, hey, be aware of this. Government leaders take this into account. And I'm getting emails back from like PR people. Yeah, our client can't sign this. And I'm like, it's wild.
Well,
it's,
well, a couple of thoughts about this. I mean, first of all, I think this is why, from my point of view, I think it's important to have artists, because science tells us all this knowledge about how the universe works, how the world works. And a lot of times we learn things that are upsetting and hard and scary and frightening, and they seem to be true, and there's nothing we can do to make it not true. You know what I mean? In other words, science sometimes gives us really bad news. And the only way that I personally feel like as a scientist we can grapple with this is why you have the arts. So we can cope, so we can process our feelings.
Yeah. It's about in a process of the emotional experience.
Yeah, so you can find a way to get beyond the, oh my gosh, I just learned this horrible thing, to, okay, I'm going to take my feelings and channel them into something useful, hopefully, into something that will do something about it.
I mean, you're kind of hitting on, and we're talking about it, there's a term that they use in economics called hyperbolic discounting.
Yep.
People will want the thing that they can have immediately, even if they could have something much greater, but it would take longer. It requires them accepting something longer in the future. And that kind of also works in the negative, which is people are willing, they don't really see the risk. They sort of see, well, I want to do this now. I want to smoke a cigarette now. They're not thinking about the long-term impact of what this could be. And that's definitely true with climate.
Oh yeah, there's a whole class of problems like this, right? Of course. I mean, I work a lot on asteroids, and now thanks to, working with you in the movie, I've kind of branched in a different direction with some earth science picking up. And I spend a lot of time looking at airless rocks. Planet Earth looks really good, guys. I mean, like really, really good.
I don't know, airless rock. I like to see. There's like a club I think that I go to called Airless Rock.
I'm telling you, like there's no 7-Eleven, there's no
really
Denny's,
high,
there's
rock,
nothing. It's just like rocks. That's it.
Thanks for tuning in to part 1 of our episode on the film Don't Look Up with director Adam McKay.
Our interview continues with Adam in our next episode. Stay tuned. And remember to rate and subscribe. Until next time.